Hi, my name is Stéphane Lafrance. I'm a motorcycle enthusiast, possibly just like you, and I would like to present you with a product that I found to be relatively unknown among motorcyclists and of which I am a big fan. Before I begin, I'd like to mention that I made this presentation because I love motorcycles and all the great gadgets that make riding even more enjoyable. So, humbly, I will be present my thoughts and let you know what I think of the product. Rest assured that this is a completely unbiased review of the product. That said, I'd like to introduce the Rowe Electronics PDM60. The PDM60 is a power distribution module with 6 individual circuits and a total power management capacity of 60 amps. The unit, with a small physical footprint on your motorcycle, has been designed to be connected directly to your 12-volt battery and intelligently distribute the electrical nutrition needed by your electrical and electronic accessories. The unit comes pre-programmed from the factory, so it's easy to use and install. Both factors that many people will find very appealing. Furthermore, if the factory configuration does not suit your needs, the unit can be custom configured using the free PDM60 dashboard software. It's available for download directly from the PDM60.com website. To download the software, simply visit the PDM60.com website and click the download link on the front page. The instructions that comes with the device clearly state that if you have any question or problem during your installation or have question about installing or using the software, you can contact Rowe Electronics by phone or email and they will gladly assist you. I found the instruction manual that came with the PDM60 to be very comprehensive and easy to use. Now back to the strength that I found very interesting about the PDM60. Via the configuration software, I'm able to individually configure each of the 6 circuits. I can set amperage limit for each circuit, how each circuit is triggered on or off, and set time activation delays or time deactivation delays for the circuits. So, if desired, you can fully customize how the unit interacts with your accessories. For example, I can assign circuit number 1 to have a 5 amp limit, to be ignition triggered with a 7-second startup delay. So, once I turn the ignition key after a 7-second delay, the circuit goes live. The 7-second startup delay will allow all the bike's electrical power to go towards starting the bike, prior to powering up any accessories. This is a good feature for hard starting bikes or bikes with less powerful or compromised batteries. Finally, there is also a shut-off delay that can be programmed on individual circuits. It can be set to provide up to 600 seconds of power to any circuit after the bike's ignition is turned off. In practice, this would give me an additional 10 minutes of power on a circuit, helpful to see the next road on my GPS, keep accessory light running, or to keep my heated gear going even after cutting the ignition on my bike. Another feature I like on the PDM60 is that if I were to have some kind of a short or electrical fault on a circuit, the PDM60 will simply turn off power to that circuit and tell me about it with the red LED on that circuit. To reset the circuit, you just find the reason for the fault, correct it, key back on, and watch for the PDM60 to give you a green light again. Imagine, no more carrying extra fuses around or trying to chase down and replace blown fuses. It is for these reasons that I have chosen for the second time in as many motorcycles to install a PDM60 to manage the power distribution of my accessories. I should add that the PDM is completely sealed. It's completely waterproof. Corrosion or moisture is never a concern. It is very small, so it fits into places where you don't have much room. In fact, it is a revolutionary product that, in my opinion, should be installed at the factory on all new bikes. If you do not mind, I'd like to demonstrate the ease of installation of the module and do a small operational demonstration of this revolutionary product. First, I received the PDM60 in a box that was too big for its contents. Once unpacked it, I see once again that the module is unchanged for 18 months since I purchased my first PDM60. The set includes the module itself, a posi connector kit for installation connecting your wires, a USB programming cable for programming the unit, and a negative ground bus connection cable to connect all of your ground wires. As opposed to using the include posi lock connectors, I chose heat shrink crimp connection for most of my wiring. I did use the included posi tap for connecting my ignition trigger into the tail light circuit. As you see, the module is nicely assembled. It's very small and very thin. On the back of the unit, you can see the access to the USB programming cable connection. This is where you plug the cable to program the unit. You have to be sure to orient the plug properly. When the cable is plugged into your computer, the LEDs will flash, showing the unit is in programming mode. Since the stock programming setup will meet my needs, I'll simply proceed to the product installation. The heavy gauge red wire is the wire that I will connect to the positive terminal of the battery, and the black wire, identified by ground, will in turn connect it to the negative pole. First step, choose where you want to install your PDM60. Since I have good clearance under the passenger seat of my V-Strom 1000, this is where I will be installing it. During installation, it's best to try to strategically route the wires through the frame of your bike. Routing the wires carefully will give you the best, most professional final appearance. I wrap a bit of electrical tape around the end of the wires to ease the routing of the wires through the frame. Then, I secured the module by using 2 screws, which were not part of the installation kit. Per the instruction manual, I have to connect the black ground wire to the negative battery post. I assure you that the installation is very simple. I'm somewhat of a novice mechanic, but I had no problem completing a clean, professional installation. Here, we can see the negative ground bus cable. I also installed that on a negative pole of the battery. The ground bus cable is used to connect all the negative wires from your accessories. As you will see later in the video, I changed my mind and I added a new ground terminal block to the bike, where I can ground all my accessories. Next step, according to the instruction manual, is to connect the heavy gauge red wire to the positive terminal of the battery. Then, connect the gray ignition trigger. The gray wire should be connected to a wire that receives power when you turn the ignition on. Since I've mounted the module near the rear of the bike, I'm going to tap my trigger wire into the taillight circuit. Using my voltmeter, I identify a circuit that goes live when the ignition is turned on. The circuit shows 12 volts when I turn the ignition key on. Once I have found the correct wire, in this case a brown wire, I connect the posi tap provided with the installation kit. Then, at the other end of the posi tap, I connect the gray wire that is labeled ignition trigger. I close the back of the bike and proceed to loosen the side covers and fairing. This creates easy passage for the circuit wires I will run towards the front of the bike to power my accessories. I tapped together the main power and ground wires to feed power to my GPS. I then insert the 2 wires into corrugated sleeve tubing to protect them from the heat generated by the engine. To facilitate passage of power wires under the tank, I use a piece of wire to snake a path. I tape the ends of my power and ground wires to a loop on the end of my wire. Insert the wire in through the body of the bike and pull my wires through. Then comes the time to connect the power and ground wires I've installed to the power and ground wires of my GPS base. Notice that I cut the power and ground wires to different lengths. Doing so will help me to make connection points less bulky and makes it easier to put the shrink sleeve on. The shrink sleeve is to help provide a quality seal for the entire connection. I understand that it's not absolutely necessary to put shrink tubing over each electrical connection. I simply want to ensure good and long-term performance. The extra time and effort to put the shrink tubing on, in my opinion, is time well spent. I can have confidence knowing that I have a good, long-term installation, and it's helped to make the whole installation appear clean and professional. Now comes the time to connect the black ground wires for my GPS. I connect the wire to a new negative ground terminal bus I installed on the bike. I will use this terminal block to connect all the ground wires from all my accessories, including those that I will install later. I remind you that this is a new ground terminal block that is connected directly to the negative pole of the battery. Next, I'll be connecting the circuit number 1 wire from the PDM60 to supply power to the red power wire on my GPS. Like all electrical connections I'm making during the installation, heat shrink is applied and the wiring is carefully inserted into protective corrugated tubing. I route the tubing all the way back to the PDM60 module. Finally, it is time to test my wiring and the PDM60. I turn the ignition key to simulate starting of the bike. As I had previously mentioned, in its stock configuration, the PDM60 is configured with a 7-second startup delay. Prior to powering accessories, the startup delay allows all available electrical power to go towards starting the bike. After the 7 seconds delay is complete, I see that all 6 circuits of my PDM60 have activated. This includes circuit 1, which now automatically activates my GPS when I turn my ignition on. Now I will test the quality of circuit protection afforded by the PDM60 on each electrical circuit. To do this, I take the end of the circuit number 4 power lead. Replicating an electrical failure, I short-circuit the wire directly to the negative pole of the battery. On the LED display, the circuit number 4 LED goes to red and power to the circuit is shut off. You'll notice that while the wire is shorted, the LED is red. It turns orange when the short is no longer present. This is helping in identifying intermittent electrical shorts. Red indicates an active fault on a circuit, and orange indicates that there was a fault on the circuit but it no longer exists. In either case, if the LED isn't green, that means the power going to the circuit has been shut off. To reset the circuit, it's very simple. I just turn the bike's ignition off and on again, wait for the 7-second startup delay, and all the circuits are back on with all the LEDs back to green. I have not even had to make the effort to find and install a new fuse. Everything is back in order. Before reassembling the parts of the fairing I have loosened for the installation, I also route the wires for circuit number 2 and 3 to the front of the bike. Those circuits will be used to feed 2 additional accessories like lights or heated grips. From there, I carefully bundle the remaining circuits wire and the ground trigger. It is possible, using the PDM60 programming dashboard, to program unused circuits to be inactive. With the PDM60, I really don't have to worry about short circuits. I simply chose to tape off the ends, zip tie the bundle together, and tuck it away out of sight for future use. Finally finished, this is the appearance of the installed PDM60 and all the wiring to power the 3 new accessories on my V-Strom 1000. Should I ever decide to add more accessories, there are 3 more circuits just waiting to be used. I'm very happy to have had the chance to create this little installation and demonstration video, and glad to share my experience with the internet community here on this beautiful planet of ours. To all my friends I say, drive carefully and see you soon on the road.